Good afternoon, members. I now call the meeting to order. Item number 1, confirmation of minutes of meeting. Minutes of the 20th meeting held on April the 28th. As of now, we have received no comments on the minutes. Can I take the minutes as read? All right, minutes taken as read. Item 2, matters arising. Report on meeting with the CS. There is nothing particular to bring members up to date on. Item 3, Legal Service Division report on subsidiary legislation gazetted on April the 28th. Legal advisor, please, paper LS 59. Madam Chair, there is one item on the the waste disposal, designated waste disposal facility regulation amendment of Schedule 1 Notice 2017. This is to specify Organized Resources Recovery Center Phase 1 at Suho 1 North Lantau as designated waste disposal facility. This is to take and recycle food waste from the commercial and industrial sectors. This comes into operation on July 1st. The EAP was consulted. Members raised no particular comments. We have looked into this and there are no particular problems. Right, subcommittee. No. Just a reminder that for amendment, the deadline is June the 7th, council meeting. Item 4, further business for council meeting of May the 10th, 2017, tabling of papers. Report number 17/16 to 17 of the House Committee on consideration of subsidiary legislation and other instruments. There is an item. The deadline of amendment is on the 10th of May. That's the legal practitioners professional indemnity commencement notice 2016. No members indicated any intention to speak. Item 5, business for council meeting of May the 17th. Questions. We have the new arrangement for questions raised on 17th of May under House Rule 7E. During the appropriation bill debate, we're not going to be putting oral questions since we're uncertain about when the proceedings on the appropriation bill will end, or the oral questions on May the 17th and thereafter will be dealt with in accordance with the following ways. First, when members put oral questions, they should indicate how they should have the question dealt with if they cannot be taken on a particular day. First, to convert the oral question into a written question for that meeting. Second, to put off the oral question to the next available council meeting. That is the next meeting after the completion of the Appropriation Bill 2017. That's for members' information. B, Bill, first reading and second reading, Employment Amendment Bill 2017. We're going to have this dealt with at the House Committee meeting on May the 19th. C, Government Motions. Proposed resolution to be moved by STH under Section 53B of the Public Bus Services Ordinance in relation to the KMB Company 1933 Limited. Legal advisor, please. Paper 60. Madam Chair, this is to seek Council's approval to exclude the application of the profit control scheme set out in certain sections to the new 10-year franchise granted to KMB on March the 28th. On January the 20th, the TP was consulted, and this is in accordance with the usual practice. So this go through, there will be gazetting to be done for implementation. All right, subcommittee. Mr. Charles Mock proposes a subcommittee. Any members wishing to join? there will be further circulation. As per usual practice, the House Committee would normally request that the motion be withdrawn so that we have sufficient time to scrutinize the details. 2. Proposed resolution to be moved by STH under Section 12 of the Fixed Penalty Criminal Proceedings Ordinance Cap 240. Legal advisor, please, LS 61, please. Madam Chair, thank you. This proposal is related to the 6 items that were reported to members last week regarding the traffic arrangement. This resolution is in relation to the right driving arrangement for the highways. All the penalties are set out in the form of fixed penalties and standardized at $450. On the 28th of April, we reported to members the details already. Members might wish to take this together with the other items that we reported on. All right, any proposed SC? If not, Mr. Jeremy Tam, you're proposing a subcommittee. Members remember that we've decided to set up a subcommittee to look into 6 items to do with the traffic arrangement on the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge. Since this item is related to the road traffic expressway regulation, I propose that members refer this to that subcommittee for scrutiny. Unless there is an objection, the Secretariat will be inviting members to attend. As per usual practice, the House Committee would request that the administration withdraw the prior notice or advance notice of this resolution for members to have sufficient time to scrutinize the details. D. Members' Bill, first and second reading, Bank of Communications Hong Kong Limited Merger Bill. We're going to have this dealt with at the House Committee meeting on May the 19th to deal with this issue raised by Mr. Ronick Chen. E. Members' Motions. Motion under the Electrical Powers and Privileges Ordinance to be moved by Dr. Ching Chung Tai. Wording of the motion has been issued. Vide LC paper number CB 3518, dated May the 4th. Second motion on not forgetting to inform the incident to be moved by Dr. Helena Wong. Wording has been issued. Vide paper CB 3514. 3. Motion on combating bid rigging by Mr. Lam Cheuk Ting. Wording has been issued on the same date. For amendments, the deadline to do so is May 10th, Wednesday. Item number 6. Reports of Bills, Committees and Subcommittees. Report of the Bills Committee on Inland Revenue Amendment Bill. I'd like to invite Mr. Kenneth Leong to speak, Chairman.
The purpose of the Inland Revenue Amendment Bill 2017 is to amend the Inland Revenue Cap 112 in order to implement the tax concession measures in the 2017-2018 budget. The Bills Committee supports the bill in principle. During the course of deliberation, the Bills Committee has discussed the rationale for the tax concessions and related considerations. The Bills Committee has called on the administration to take into account the trend prices of the relevant household expenses in determining the level of tax allowances and deduction ceilings, and expand the scope of education courses eligible for deduction for self-education expenses. The administration has taken note of members' views and suggestions for future consideration. Both the Bills Committee and the administration will not propose any amendment to the bill. The Bills Committee supports the resumption of the second reading debate on the bill at the Council meeting of 17 May 2017. Members are invited to note the deliberations of the Bills Committee as set out in the written report. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Mr. Leung. If members would like to move amendments, the deadline to do so is May the 8th, Monday. Item 7. Position of Bills Committee and Subcommittees. As of May the 4th, there are 11 Bills Committees in action, 11 subcommittees under the House, and 5 subcommittees under panels that are currently in action. There are 7 on the waiting list. Last item, any other business. Proposal of Ms. Claudia Mo to seek the House Committee's agreement for asking an urgent question at the Council meeting of May the 10th on the information disclosed by Mr. Guo Wenkui to the media. I've been inviting Ms. Claudia Mo to speak and then ask whether members would be in agreement with the proposal. 2 minutes, please, Ms. Claudia Mo. Shouldn't it be 3 minutes? Usually 2 minutes. Since 1997, it's been 20 years, we keep saying that the invisible hand of Beijing is interfering with one country, two systems. Today, we have this Mr. Guo Wenkui, this billionaire from the mainland of China who has been in exile. He's been accusing a lot about the Beijing government and Hong Kong government. He mentioned the visible hand interfering with Hong Kong, and he said a lot about the Hong Kong government. He mentioned that there is a clubhouse, safe house in Causeway Bay, specifically for detaining people. Now, is it the case that the Hong Kong government is turning a blind eye to the situation, or the government is just putting up with the situation? Now, you might say that he's being vague, and I mean, we can be wise, and when listening to these reports, like if these are rumors, there wouldn't have been so much coverage in the media. I don't think the government should be burying its head in the sand and pretend as if nothing is ever happening. He's saying that the Security Bureau, the National Security Bureau and the State Security are enforcing the law in a systematic way, and this has to do with the personal safety of every single one of us. The other thing is the credibility of the government. I think it is in tatters if you do not care to respond. Now, we talk a lot about faith in the Chinese community. Now, there is no faith at all left of the government. There are many Beijing officials who keep saying that if one country's two systems is undermined, then it would be the fault of the Hong Kong people. All right, those who have pressed the button will be given 1 minute to speak, and I hope the members would speak to the urgency of the proposal. Mr. Michael Look, Madam Chair, obviously we are very concerned. Nor can we accept mainland officials enforcing the law in Hong Kong. But I don't think we have any evidence. It is one-sided argument. And if we want to insert this urgent question in the crowded agenda, I can't really see the urgency at all. Now, Mr. Guo Wenkui is someone who's in exile because of commercial crimes and commercial frauds. Now, he hasn't been convicted, of course, but he is on the wanted list internationally. Now, for him to say something and then we raise an urgent oral question here, I think people would say that we don't have any judgment in this regard.
Ms. Ellen Yang, the Civic Party supports Ms. Claudia Mo's proposal for an urgent question because we care about the international reputation and integrity of one country, two systems. As to how true Mr. Guo's words are, no one can tell. But because of this, we should give the SAR government a chance to officially respond or even deny such claims. They should officially deny such rumors to reinstate confidence in the international community. So there's nothing to hide, and we should give the SAR government a chance to respond properly. And when they receive media inquiries, they would not comment on them. Why don't they just deny them? Why don't they tell the truth to the public and respond to electrical properly? That's why we support Ms. Mo's urgent question. Ms. Edward Lau. I object to this urgent question because there is no urgency. The SAR government has said that they are handling Hong Kong affairs based on the basic law in one country, two systems. And as we know, Mr. Guo is wanted globally because of corruption, and he has no integrity. I read some reports, and apparently he was very smart, and he had he carried out recordings wherever he went. However, why couldn't he produce solid evidence in his claims? And he must have other partners in crime. Guo Wengui wants to build up an image that he's being suppressed politically, so we should not side with him. Members, since the HC meeting would have to end before 3 p.m., so we would proceed to the vote, and we need to reserve some time for the quorum bell, for the division bell. And the members who wish to speak, please press the button, and I will draw the line. Dr. Helene Wong. The Democratic Party supports Ms. Claudia Mo's urgent question. We see a number of pro-establishment members said everything is all right, but no one can actually tell whether this is a problem. So we have heard some serious accusations. For example, more than 100 officers from the Public Security Bureau from the mainland are staged in Hong Kong, and they are staying in a safe house. I urge the pro-establishment members to consider this carefully. You swore to abide by the basic law, and according to the basic law, mainland officers cannot conduct arrests or other activities in Hong Kong. If we embrace the basic law in one country, two systems, we must get the issue clear, and we should allow the police and the government to respond properly. Mr. Leung Kwok-hong. Chairman, if I'm part of the SAR government, then I would say that these are just empty claims, but they refuse to make such claim. This is extraordinary. Even the Voice of America was not telling the truth. And rumors were being thrown around at the VOA, and this is certainly problematic. If you do not allow us to discuss this here, never mind. Well, I can tell the media whatever I want. I now challenge C.Y. Leung to say that these claims are empty, and then I will shut up immediately. Mr. Leung Yiu-chung. Chairman, Mr. Leung Kwok-hong, stop speaking. He said I made a mistake. Mr. Leung Yiu-chung, please remain silent. Chairman, I support Ms. Claudia Mo's urgent question. Whether what Mr. Guo said was true or not, well, if what he said was true, then we have no time to waste. then he is talking about the Public Security Bureau operating in Hong Kong. So this is a significant matter, and it must be clarified to avoid fears. These claims have led to fears in our society, so whether or not those claims are true, we must get to the bottom of it. So I support Ms. Mo's urgent question. Mr. Ray Chan, Chairman, we are not trying to speculate the motivation behind Mr. Guo's claims, and we are not trying to say whether he's hero or villain. The public would hope that what he said was not true. Our urgent question is for the SAR government, especially the Security Bureau. His claims were very specific. In the past, you said such claims had there were no witnesses to the claims, and this time, the police said they had no comment. As Mr. Leung Kwok-hong said, if you dare to say that these claims are empty, and like what Mr. Christopher Chung once said, or would the Security Bureau say that they don't have enough information on hand and an investigation is needed? That's why we won't have time to deal with an urgent question. Mr. Jeffrey Lam, thank you. There are a lot of wanted people everywhere in the world. Mr. Guo Wen-gui became a wanted person because he committed an offense. His claims were unsubstantiated. Whenever people talk about Hong Kong, Ms. Claudia Mo would believe everything. Hong Kong plays by the rule of law, and we need to talk about substance or evidence. You cannot just blindly believe in what people say. When we look at Western media, they did not comment exclusively on his claims. LegCo is about business. It's a waste of our time if we just randomly ask people to comment on other people's claims. Myself and the Democratic Party support Ms. Mo's urgent question. Some pro-establishment members talked about the red-listed warning by Interpol, and Mr. Guo Wen-gui is not a Chinese citizen. I don't know if his claims were true, but his claims were indeed serious, including law enforcement in Hong Kong. I think we all remember the Causeway bookstore incident, and we are not even talking about the purchase of land in Hong Kong. We are just worried if law enforcement agencies of the mainland are operating in Hong Kong. We are just trying to find out the truth. Mr. Jonathan Ho. Thank you. Some members just perhaps watch a popular Chinese drama and they think Hong Kong is part of the drama, but this is not a movie studio, and they should not mix up drama and reality. Perhaps Miss Claudia Mo thought she's one of the actresses and that LegCo is part of her stage. We cannot see any plaintiff in this case, and we have no defendant because this is not about anything in Hong Kong or the SAR government. So what is the question actually about? I see no point. I haven't seen any extensive coverage. Perhaps it was an exclusive report from by Mr. Lai. I think there's no need for an urgent question. Mr. Nathan Law, thank you. I have not watched the drama Mr. Jonathan Ho talked about, but I feel we do need to raise an urgent question because there's general concern of the mainland Security Bureau operating across the border in Hong Kong. Whether or not Mr. Guo is wanted and regardless of his background, people were very concerned about his claims. It shows Hong Kong people's concern towards intervention from Beijing. We are not trying to try everyone, but for Xiao Jianhua and the Causeway bookstore incidents, Hong Kong people could not receive satisfactory answers on whether enforcement across the border indeed exists. So we should take the chance to clarify this problem. Mr. Ko Ai-keung, no matter what the government says, the pan-democrats would not be happy. I thought only Ms. Claudia Mo would care about the words of Mr. Guo and Gui, but the fact is the Civic Party and Democratic Party are also very interested. If we talk about investigation, I think we should investigate whether some people are spies or whether they are receiving hidden money. And Dr. Chen Chong-tai, I support Ms. Claudia Mo's urgent question. The focus is not on the truthfulness of Mr. Guo and Gui's claims, but this motion can ascertain our constitutional status under one country, two systems for Hong Kong. The public and Hong Kong people might care about the truthfulness of such claims, and these claims might be related to a recent hearing in the U.S. And Hong Kong enjoys a certain constitutional status internationally. Why can't we begin discussions at LegCo? The discussion doesn't serve to investigate the truthfulness of the claims, but to reflect our constitutional status. Mr. Wong Kwok King, this is another saga. A wanted criminal made some claims, and the Americans tried to turn this into a political saga, and this is not surprising. To borrow Dr. Helena Wong's words, some people echoed his claims, and this is really hard to watch. Of course, no one wants to stop you from asking questions, but you should follow the usual procedures. I'm sure the government must respond. Why are you raising an urgent question, however? I don't see any urgency. A criminal or a wanted person made some claims, and the pan-democrats try to follow up on these so-called claims. I think they are too biased towards Mr. Lai. Ms. Mo, you have 1 minute to respond. Chairman, the strangest part of the incident is that the DSCR government refused to comment. We are not trying to launch an investigation. There's no plaintiff, no defendant. I'm just raising a question. I thought Mr. Jeffrey Lam has always been reasonable, and he just said we believed in everything others said, but in truth, it's the opposite. We have doubts about those claims. Mr. Guo and Gui's claims were somewhat related to the Causeway bookstore incident, or other incidents. Why are you so anxious, and why are you telling us that we shouldn't trust criminals? So do you still embrace the rule of law? Members can raise questions, and the item is, do we agree with Ms. Mo's proposal of an urgent question? I've heard different views from members, so we will put this to the vote. If division is claimed, the bell will ring for 5 minutes.
各位議員，我哋表決完成之後。
Members, after the voting, I will be proceeding with the Finance Committee. I'm grateful to Mr. Chen Kin-bo for letting us have 10 minutes of his time for the voting. Members, please proceed to vote. Please press the button to register your presence before voting. Before I close the voting process, please check your votes. If there are no questions, voting now ends. Would the clerk please show the results? The result is 26 for, 29 against, no abstention. The proposal has been negatived. No AOB item, meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.